Hello and welcome to County Perspective, the show that focuses on Frederick County government, local programs and events, and the community that you live in. I'm your host, Brandon Rosa, and thank you all for joining us. Frederick County government has been busy the past couple of weeks with the budget, thanking our volunteer firefighters, and creating closed caption systems for different languages for public meetings. Now let's begin today's show with our top news stories. Announcing record investments in education, safe communities, and agriculture preservation, Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner unveiled a people-centered budget for fiscal year 2023 designed to ensure a high quality of life for the people who live and work in Frederick County. For the 8th straight year, the budget maintains the existing property and income tax rates. In fact, Executive Gardner proposes targeted income tax cuts for seniors and many working families.
Now, the budget I'm proposing shapes a prosperous tomorrow. It reflects our values for public education, safe communities, our seniors, and preserving our high quality of life.
Fiscal year 2023 begins July 1st, 2022. A complete copy of the operating and capital budgets is available at frederickcountymd.gov/budget. The full budget presentation can be viewed at frederickcountymd.gov/FCG-TV. The Frederick County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association and Ladies Auxiliary held their 29th annual award ceremony on Monday, April 18th, 2022. The event was held at Walkersville Volunteer Fire Company. This ceremony recognizes the dedicated men and women of Frederick County's 25 volunteer fire and rescue companies for their extraordinary accomplishments, courage, and lifetime achievements in making Frederick County a safer place to live and work.
So I was kind of at the right place at the right time. I mentor with a nonprofit organization called I Believe in Me. So we were having a cookout for our volunteers because we were doing food donations. And one of the young ladies that was there, her and her brother was playing in the pool. So I walked around the pool, and when I got around to the other side of the pool, I looked down at the bottom of the pool, and his sister was down there, basically lifeless. So I just resorted back to my training, and I just dove down there and grabbed her out of the pool and assessed the situation furthermore when I got her out of the pool. So when I finally got her out, I checked for a pulse and things of that nature. And it prompted me to start CPR. As soon as I started CPR, I say about 5 or 6 chest compressions after, she started coughing. So I knew I got her consciousness back. After that, I put her in the recovery position and kind of went from there.
To watch the Volunteer Firefighter Awards ceremony, visit frederickcountymd.gov/FCG-TV. Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner announced a new service for the county's 38,000 residents who speak a language other than English that will allow them to more easily engage with Frederick County government. Public meetings now offer real-time closed captions in more than 100 languages. Captions are available for any meeting that streams from Frederick County's online engagement hub, publicinput.com/FrederickCOMD, as the meeting is taking place. To use translated captions, viewers select their preferred language by clicking on the Translate button at the top of the engagement hub. Captions are automatically turned on. In addition to translated captions, when a board or commission takes public comment, this same Translate button allows people to type a comment or a question in their native tongue, and county staff will be able to instantly translate those comments into English. Frederick County is home to 17 breweries. That's a lot of beer. Now, these breweries have craft beers from IPAs, sours, New England style, stouts, and more, and each craft beer has its own name. But have you ever wondered how these breweries craft just the right name for their beers? FCG-TV visited some local breweries to find the answer to that very question. Watch this episode of Destination Frederick County to find out more.
What's in a name? That famous question appeared in William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, first published in 1597. Well, if old Bill lived today in Frederick County, Maryland, he might ask that same question about the county's thriving craft brewing industry. The region is now home to 17 local breweries, turning barley, hops, and wheat into one of Frederick's most popular commodities. But with so many beers on tap, how do these brewers decide on the perfect name?
My favorite beer at Idiom is the Red, and that's exactly what I'm drinking today.
Tonight's drink of choice is the Juggling Act.
The big homie's favorite beer is the Big Juicy.
I may not throw many of them, but Temper Tantrum is my favorite.
Everybody always asks what comes first, the beer or the name. It's always the beer here, so oftentimes the name that we choose for a beer is playing off of ingredients that we've put in a beer or the style. Instead of naming beers, IPA 1, IPA 2, IPA 3, or coming up with random words to put together for names of beers, he thought it would be really fun to do it off of phrases, and oftentimes phrases are idioms. And it really gives us a fun platform to kind of come up with all of our names of our beers.
So all of our beers are pretty much named after something musical related. They can be, band name, a lyric, song title.
Prior to creating the beer name, I actually tend to come up with the recipe first. Sometimes I'll be sleeping at night and a name will kind of wake me up. But it's a lot of fun. Some names just come to us. Some customers that come in will say something and we'll have a name, and and they'll say a name and we'll put it in like a running tally of awesome beer names.
The name of the beer really kind of drives the artwork that goes along with it when you're creating a label, and we all know that the label sells the beer on the shelf. So depending on what idiom or title we choose for our beer, that's gonna create the label and the artwork, and the more colorful and exciting the label is, the more likely people are to pick up that beer whether they know it or not.
So I think Frederick County is a popular area for brewing industry in the state of Maryland because of the young demographic that we have. There's a lot of young folk that love to go out and party at night, but also at the same time, it's a lot of older clientele also that really just want to enjoy like a nice West Coast IPA or like a classic style lager.
Frederick County, we self-proclaimed beer capital of Maryland. So you definitely come to Frederick County if you want Maryland beer. 17 breweries in the county. You're going to find something you like. And we all have our own little play on things, with our different themes and different events. And we're obviously making all different kinds of beers. So, we get people from all over the region to Frederick County to visit and, make beer vacations out of it. So Frederick County is the county in Maryland for beer.
Grab some snacks and something to drink, but don't change the channel because we have more coming up in County Perspective. Welcome back to County Perspective. I'm your host, Brandon Rosa. Later in County Perspective, we'll check out the latest episode of Bookends. But before we dive into that, we need to see what animal is looking for you to take them home in this episode's Pet of the Week.
Walking through the dog floor at FCAC, you might not think Rolex would be the dog for you. The kennel and the loud barking of the other dogs makes this handsome senior quite anxious. But outside the kennel, in an environment that resembles a home, he's completely different. He loves bouncing around the room with squeaky toys and trying to fit his 50-pound body onto your lap. Rolex is a goofy love bug, but would do best with a family with older kids and one who is willing to provide him with some confidence-boosting good manners training. To learn more about Rolex and our adoption process, call Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center at 301-600-1546.
Frederick County Public Libraries branches have so much to offer, from educational materials, literacy, video games, a memory lab that converts old VHS tapes into DVDs, and more. All of these resources can be found inside their branches. But FCPL doesn't want to limit these resources to the branches. They want these resources out in the community as well. Watch this episode of Bookends on community engagement to find out more.
Hello and welcome to Bookends. I'm your host, Val Atmanavage. In this episode, we're going to talk with Frederick County Public Libraries Community Outreach Manager, Brian Hassong. And Brian's going to fill us in on all the things the library is doing outside of the actual library branch buildings. That's very exciting. And we're also going to meet Tara Leberts, who's the Children's Bookmobile Manager. So let's get started.
Our overall goal is to bring the services, resources, and materials sort of beyond the confines of the building out into the community. So, for example, both bookmobiles, the Community Bookmobile and the Early Start Bookmobile, are within our department, and they go out into neighborhoods to serve, areas that are underserved.
So I drive the Early Start Bookmobile, and we work with organizations to bring literacy resources to kids around the county. We work with government-sponsored organizations, and we also go to organizations that work with at-risk children across the county. And we're bringing materials and resources to kids that probably don't have easy access to those from their homes.
The other thing that we do is we focus on sort of big system-wide events. So like summer reading, we do that every summer. We sort of develop that and oversee that. Our annual author event, Frederick Reads, and the Celtic concert that happens every March. We do that as well. So as I mentioned, we have two bookmobiles. The one is the Early Start Bookmobile, and what that does is that visits youth and children who might not have the opportunity to be able to go to the library. We also have the Community Bookmobile, and that goes into both neighborhoods as well as older adult communities. They might not be able to be as mobile quite as they used to, so that serves those populations. In addition, we also focus on building partnerships, whether it's businesses in Frederick County or service organizations. So for example, I mentioned Frederick Reads. We partner with the Weinberg Center for the Arts, as well as Frederick Community College to bring that annual speaker series to Frederick every year. Our youth services coordinator just met with the Parks and Rec department to plan some fun and family-friendly activities, outdoor activities for the summer. So we also do outreach, which is us going out into the community and talking about the services that we provide. One of our priorities in our strategic plan is building bridges. And what we saw is that, not only do we want community members to come into our branches, but we want to go out to where they are to meet them, at their spot and to meet their needs. And so we came to the conclusion that, having one single department as a whole, we could better, meet those needs and serve those neighborhoods out into the community.
I think that the need for bookmobiles is definitely growing. We have a wait list for both the Early Start Bookmobile and the Community Bookmobile waiting to be added to have their stops added. And we could probably use another bookmobile because there's so many people who want the services.
So we recently received some grant money from the state of Maryland. We used it to purchase a book bike with like an electric assist. So keep an eye out on the streets of Frederick for librarians riding around the neighborhood, bringing books and services to areas where our larger vehicles can't reach. We also will use that money probably in the next 2 years to purchase a smaller vehicle than the bookmobile, but a transit van. And that will have a rolling bookshelf and a really strong Wi-Fi service that we can go into different neighborhoods, roll those books out and meet people where they're at, sign them up for library cards, allow them to get access to Wi-Fi, and they can check out books. As time goes by, we want there to be fewer and fewer areas in the county that the library doesn't touch. So, when you're out on the street at a festival, an event, keep an eye out for us, whether it's the bike or the transit van or the bookmobiles. And if you see the bookmobile, wave and say hi and check out some books.
Well, that was an interesting episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Again, for all things library related, visit us at fcpl.org and we'll see you in the aisles.
Now that spring is here, Frederick County government divisions and departments are hosting a variety of events to keep you and your family active. Let's see what events are coming up in the next few weeks. If you would like to find out more about virtual events and programs and activities that are going on in the county, visit the county's webpage, frederickcountymd.gov. Before we conclude this episode of County Perspective, I want to fill you in on some recent news about Frederick native and Paralympic athlete Noah Grove and what is coming up next month. Since the start of April, Frederick County government facilities resumed normal operations and Winchester Hall opened its doors to allow the public to participate in person during public hearings. On May 18th at 6 p.m., you're invited to the Planning Commission's public hearing on the Sugarloaf Treasured Landscape Management Plan Review. In March, the Planning Commission voted to send the Sugarloaf Treasured Landscape Management Plan to the state of Maryland for them to review the plans. Now the Commission would like to hear from you. You can also tune into FCG-TV Channel 19 and 1085 if you can't make it to the public hearing. If you would like to find out more information about the Sugarloaf Treasured Landscape Management Plan, visit frederickcountymd.gov/Sugarloaf Area Plan. Do you have a dog? Do you love your local Frederick County parks? If so, well, you're in luck. On May 14th, starting at 10 a.m. and ending at 2 p.m., is the annual Bark in the Park event. This year, it will be at Ballinger Creek Park. This event is great for you and your four-legged companion to meet new friends and get some exercise. If you would like to find out more about this event, visit recreator.com or call 301-600-1646. Congratulations to Frederick native Noah Grove for winning his second gold medal with Team USA's Paralympic sled hockey team. Grove won his first gold medal with Team USA in 2018 when he was only 18 years old, the youngest member of the U.S. Paralympic sled hockey team. Ever since his first gold medal, the fire inside of him grew larger and becoming the best Paralympic sled hockey athlete he can be. Noah and Team USA won gold again at the 2022 Games. With 2 gold medals under his belt, Grove isn't stopping anytime soon. Well, that's the end of this episode of County Perspective. Before the show is over, don't forget to follow Frederick County on social media in order to keep up to date on important news and events. We'll see you next time for a fresh look from a county perspective.